One of the fundamental things that OKC and frankly every team in the playoffs have really tried to do to the Timberwolves is make sure Anthony Edwards does not get clean looks. We're going to take a look at some of the ways that OKC has managed to do that. Let's go. The first and most obvious way on defense, I think, is in particular how they handle McDaniels. And so we're going to see at the beginning of this game, first off, Chet goes extremely under these screens, and they are essentially allowing McDaniels to have this room. And one of the reasons they're allowing McDaniels to have this room is they don't want other people to score. They're okay with allowing that shot. However, in game one, frankly, this changed pretty quick. The first two possessions that Minnesota had, McDaniels got, frankly, really good looks, either from the top of the key, a three-pointer there, or on this little drive right here. Same thing, Chet's conceding ground, going underneath, and McDaniels, again, gets a wide open shot from the free throw. And so he made both these shots, and so OKC altered their strategy with McDaniels, but is still applied with the same concept. And so from this point forward, they actually gave McDaniels quite a bit more respect on the perimeter. They still helped off of him when it was off ball, but when he had the ball, they were playing him tight. However, that same concept applies to Edwards right here. So even with Chet on him, which is arguably a mismatch in favor of the Timberwolves, we can still see that defenders for OKC are stepping up. So Jalen Williams right here is stepping up. And so they're essentially saying we're going to trust rotations. Not only do we see Hartenstein helping up, this was essentially OKC's idea, is that you can apply good on-ball pressure, you can leave your feet in the air, make sure Edwards doesn't get a clean look at a three, because you're going to have other players that can help, because the Timberwolves aren't going to catch and shoot that many threes on the perimeter, or at least that's what OKC was trying to communicate. And so here, as this drive happens, we see Chet with good contact, making sure he's in between there, but then SGA cheats down, and frankly, that probably should have been a foul. But having the clogged paint is what OKC is 100% trying to do. And this is, again, very similar to what we saw McDaniels early. And OKC is essentially trying to go under this screen. Hartenstein is going under the screen. And so, if Minnesota can walk into a three like this, they're probably content with taking that shot. But you can see OKC's priority was staying with Edwards there, making sure Timberwolves don't get to the paint instead of the three. And then from that Randall and McDaniels example, we also saw that OKC did not want to switch onto Edwards. They didn't want to have Hartenstein on Edwards. And so actually a pretty good design right here from the Timberwolves. Set a little flare screen right here. And so this forces Hartenstein to come out because he has to contend to this three. But immediately when Edwards gets rid of this ball, he probably should have just kept it, frankly, there. Hartenstein knows, okay, well, this is a mismatch. I'm going to deny aggressively to try and make sure he doesn't get this ball back because they don't want to give Edwards that athletic advantage in the first place. And so on all ball screens like this, Lou Dort is not going to leave Anthony Edwards. He's going to stay with him. Lou Dort is a great defender, and they know that. And so on all these ball screens right here, we can see Hartenstein cheating up a little bit, but Lou is going to fight absolutely to get in front of this. And if that means they temporarily give Rudy Gobert freedom to go downhill, they're okay with that because it's not Anthony Edwards and they trust their defense behind it. Again, here as we see the ball screens come, we're going to see Anthony Edwards actually gets fantastic position. He gets 22 behind him right here, and he is in front, which means that you have to send other defenders. Okay, so here we can see OKC has no issue. 34 is helping off aggressively. Chet, what is he looking at? He doesn't care about Rudy. He's about to step up right here. He says, Anthony Edwards, you come to the paint. I'm going to try and block you. And then the most egregious of all of them is Caruso right here. Is he's not even pretending to guard him. These two players on the outside, they are not being guarded. Not even remotely being guarded. And they're both decent shooters. DiVincenzo's a decent shooter. Alexander Walker's a decent shooter. And so they're we'll close out late, force you to shoot the ball instead. We're not going to have Anthony Edwards beat us on the inside. And the final way that OKC prevented Edwards from getting good looks is they wanted to pressure him immediately. If they could make it so Edwards didn't have the ball at the beginning, that just makes it one step easier for him to not have the ball at the end as well. And so I personally think the Timberwolves were a touch too complacent in this. I think they need to work to get Anthony Edwards more opportunities. And so in this last example, we can see that the exact same concept on the missed shot right here, 34 in particular, is going to try and make sure Anthony Edwards doesn't get this ball. However, the Timberwolves aren't going to just settle and pass it to Naz Reid or pass it to another guard. They're going to have Anthony Edwards back cut, whatever it is to try and get him the ball, especially on the move, is what you want 100%. And then, so because in transition you have, especially down here, a slight mismatch with SGA on Rudy Gobert, Anthony Edwards is going to look to attack, and I think they need to do this, especially early in transition, where you can just beat other good defenders off the dribble like this, and this, I think, is what the Timberwolves need to make sure they try and get to going into future games. If you enjoyed, feel free to like and subscribe, and most importantly, have a blessed rest of your day.